The most embarrassing defeat you will ever see in your entire life.
This is a joke.
How do I know?
Look at you, Arteta, bruv. You're a disgrace as well, mate. You're a disgrace, mate. You are.
Look at the state of this man. Get him off my fucking. Leave this off my screen, man.
Fuck off.
I've had enough of this shit. Yeah? Another trophy we're about to fucking bottle, blood.
We are absolute fucking embarrassing.
It's done and dusted. Look at Klopp. He's like a proud dad now.
Liverpool, congratulations.
You're a joke of a football club at this point.
Yeah? Absolute clown. This club's a joke, blood.
There it is. Again. And why was Gabriel Magalhaes marking Kiwior? This is a joke, bro.
In 17 chances, 0 goals. They got some shit free kick because Odegaard got sent, and this little wanker puts the ball in, bang, in.
This guy's been through his dad being kidnapped, still coming back and bagging against us.
Man, I've had enough of this shit, man.
Two 0 2-0.
Oh, fuck off.
Diaz 2-0.
It's over.
I want him sacked. I've said it all day. I've said it all week.
Real Madrid and look real garbage when you try and pass off Kappa boots as Timberlands, fam. Arsenal have 1 win in 6 and they are out of the FA Cup, blood. These man.
I gotta stop you, bruv. I gotta stop you, X. By the way, hit the like button, subscribe, make sure bell notifications are turned on. It's 1 win. Repeat that. It is 1 win in 7 for Arsenal right now.
Came dressed in all white like Gandalf in Lord of the Rings, fam. Saka looked like he was in a straight jacket on that wing. That brother couldn't beat his man if he had a belt. He did nothing. There was more chance of Grey Worm in Game of Thrones celebrating Father's Day than Arsenal scoring a goal. His man looked like... in Love and Hip Hop. They were toothless. Arsenal got nothing at the front. Out on the pitch looking like Paul Heyman, fam. Honestly, these man had more attempts than a brother that tried to take out 50 Cent. But nothing. Touched at home. 2-0 and Arsenal are in disarray. Parlour, fam. That walking Malteser. Lamb chop Lenny Henry. Forrest Unfittica. Jamaican Zordon. Robbie... if Spurs dare go out of the FA Cup. News just in, we got bigger fish to fry. He must have been talking about his personal chef, fam. We got it all in our hands. What are them Cumberland sausage fingers holding now, Robert? Tell me. Mikel Arteta, Mikel Jackson and the kids are losing game after game. Arsenal fans seeing defeat so much, I heard they're going to sign Frodo Baggins in January. Two man got taken apart in the last minute like a Mr. Potato Head in Toy Story, blood.
Listen, X, absolutely top class as ever. And look, of course, there was so much talk in the build-up to this weekend. Will Tottenham go out? Will Tottenham stay in the tournament? And it ended up being Arsenal going out after another performance that left a lot to be desired. They're in a terrible run of form right now, and they're gonna have to take their medicine on this. But not everybody is taking the L. Not everybody is.
But this is the thing, is that if you listen to the majority of people I'm hearing, it seems the old easy kind of solution: get a striker, just go out and pay 100 million for Tony, he's available. Do we think that this guy is going to solve all our problems? You know, you spend.
You put away some of those chances that we've been missing. The header that Havertz.
I mean, scoring goals is Arsenal's problem right now. I know Julian's a very positive Arsenal fan. I don't think it's right to throw a baby out with the bathwater, and we'll probably get into that on the show. But if they'd have scored goals against West Ham, scored the goals they should have done against Liverpool, scored the goals they should have done away at Aston Villa, this is all recent. They're top of the league and they're still in the FA Cup. So yes, there are not very many problems at Arsenal. There are not. They are just not scoring, and they have gone off the boil slightly in the last 4 or 5 games. That is it. That is it. So what is Julian talking about, people? There's being positive, and And then there's being crazy.
How dare you?
The Arteta pack. The end is nigh, mate.
Do you know what? I love Ludibits. He does always look happier when they lose than when they win. But I suppose that's because he feels that the end of Arteta is near, as he just said. So he's always happy when we lose. Because I think he feels that they might move on to something better. I think that's why. Deep that.
The end is nigh. Booze at full time. Why are you booing? Trust your process. Trust your process. Trust it. Just back him. It takes time. It took Klopp 4 years. Trust your process.
But listen, I've got to stop Lee here. I get where Lee's coming from. Lee's coming from the angle of, well, you all said trust him. You all said back him. You all said it was a rebuild. You all said it was phases. Therefore, you can't criticize him now. No, I don't think it works that way. I've seen a shift in most Arsenal fans this year, most I respect anyway, of the rebuild is complete. Now go and win. And I want to say this to Arsenal fans, with all due respect. The beginning of the season, I didn't predict you to win the league. I still thought Man City would do it. I think they're going to do a 4-peat. But I said it was win-win for Arsenal. You were either going to win with Arteta this year, or you had the chance to have a brilliant built squad. I think you've got a brilliant squad. There are a few holes in it, no doubt. But I think overall, you've got a very good to brilliant squad. And that has been built over the last 4 years. You needed this rebuild. You needed the cultural reset. That is all fine. That's all a good job. That is why you had to stick with the manager through the bad times to get to this position, because you were a broken club. And if you carried on operating the way you were 4 years ago, no matter how good the manager was, if you didn't rebuild, you wouldn't be here now, in my opinion. But you're right to criticize Arteta. You're right to criticize these players now because they've had long enough. That's it. Everyone that says I was right about Arteta from the start, maybe you were right that he isn't good enough to win a Premier League or Champions League, but you're ignoring the importance of what he had to do at the club. So I think the criticism of Arteta right now is warranted. I believe there should be pressure on him to win trophies now, no matter what. But acting like the rebuild was not needed is crazy. And any gooner, genuinely, any gooner out there who is stating that another rebuild needs to happen, honest to God, I think that's crazy.
How do you guys come up with this? What the fuck? What the fuck?
I to get worried that this season could end up with us with nothing. And so out of the FA Cup now, again early. Listen, we're still in the Champions League. We've still got the league to play for. But are you starting to get worried that we can end up throwing everything away?
I'm not going to lie. This is a side that none of you have actually seen me before. But for me, I can't see us winning the Champions League. I can't see us winning the league. We're in the top 4 battle at the minute. Yeah. With me, I haven't experienced. Don't get me wrong. I'm a very lucky boy. I'm extremely lucky to go to all these games, but I haven't seen Arsenal win the league title. I've seen us win a few FA Cups, and that's it. I want, especially for me, being a young fan, I haven't witnessed it all. I want a Champions League. I want a league title. I want a Champions League more than anything, to be fair. And I think a lot of you might as well, because we've never won the Champions League. The league, I think, is generally done. I think I've written off the league with me. I'm not going to paint a fake picture over the truth. I think it's done. And that's like...
I want to stop this young man here. I've seen a lot of people online coming for this kid. I don't really know why. A lot of people are calling him horrible and entitled. There's nothing entitled about what he's saying at all. He doesn't have to explain every single element of his beliefs for you to understand what he's talking about. He's not entitled. He's talking about one of the richest clubs in the world that spends one of the highest amount of money on transfers as a huge wage bill. He wants to see that represented on the football pitch in a team that can win the league and can win the Champions League. Of course he wants to win it. All of us want our teams to win it. When you're a member of the top 6 in the Premier League, there is a difference. It's not an entitlement that we have. It's a belief that when you spend more than everybody else, you should be competing more than everybody else. That's all this comes down to. And I just wanted to shout this kid out because I know I'm not too sure I think his name is Will. I've seen him get a lot of stick online today, and I think it's disrespectful. There's nothing wrong at all with what he has said from an entitled perspective. You may not agree with everything, and that's absolutely fair. But going for this kid online, I thought was absolutely nothing short of despicable, especially if you're a grown man. Even if you disagree with a kid, let the child be. And I mean that with all due respect. He's a child. Going for him in this way, utterly, utterly despicable. And if I'm being honest with you, I think he talks more sense than a lot of the adults.
The FA Cup, they've got the Europa League and they're top of the Premier League. Contrast that with Arsenal. Their last 3 games, they've only scored 1 goal, and 2 of those games have been at the Emirates. West Ham, Fulham and Liverpool, 1 goal. It's not good enough. I thought Arsenal in the first half looked really good. In the first 20 minutes, I thought they looked really good, the same as they did at the at Anfield just before Christmas. But there's a confidence problem there. There's a creativity problem there. They need a striker. That's absolutely evident. And I do worry about Arsenal, because I guarantee you will not be able to move for a certain element of Arsenal fan who starts going, Arteta, this is what I mean, Arteta. And I would say to those people, as somebody who's seen what Arteta's done to Arsenal over the last few years, he's taken a club that was on its knees to actually being in the top 4, to actually being in title races. To actually think your Arteta out movement's actually going to go anywhere is incredible. But you might be the problem at your football club, because
our Arteta out is the problem. Is Mark Goldbridge here right to slam the Lee Gunners, the Curtis Shaws, anyone else you think out who's Arteta out? Is he right? And it's such an interesting debate to have today. I think wanting Arteta gone may be a little bit too early this season. However, that's because I'm not looking through their perspective. If they don't believe he's going to win the league and they don't believe he's going to win the Champions League, there's nothing wrong with saying, I think he has to go now. Where Mark is right, and it should not be ignored by a lot of Arsenal fans, don't like the term process, don't like the term phases, don't like the idea of rebuilds, in the sense of there is a misconception that a club that's been in trouble for a long period of time, like Arsenal were, that you can fix it in a summer or two, in a season or two. And I don't think that's plausible. I don't think that's possible with where Arsenal were. The same as I don't think Man United can be fixed in one summer. I think it's impossible to do. So Arteta and the Edu rebuild that started 4 years ago was absolutely essential. Already stated that on this video. That element Mark's spot on about. But where I think Mark's wrong is that it isn't incorrect to now start looking at the manager and saying, has he taken us as far as we can go? Why have they looked a little bit off it in recent weeks? Is that because the pressure's getting to the players and the manager isn't filling them with enough confidence? Is it because, or partly because, he just, this time round in the window, he went for the Kai Havertz and he went for the David Raya situations, and do you know what? He's just got those wrong, and it's upset the apple cart slightly. Should have invested that money elsewhere. If they hadn't signed Kai Havertz, they'd have the money now to go and get maybe Ivan Toney straight away, as an example. Is it just because these players are not good enough? Is it because the rebuild has been a failure? You may see it differently. But from my point of view, looking at this, I stand by what I said at the beginning of the season. It's win-win for Arsenal. Everything Goldbridge has said about the rebuild element is true, cannot and should not be ignored. Ever. Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola is doing stuff at Man City they've never seen before. He's been phenomenal. But everything Pep's been able to do is because of what the likes of Mark Hughes, Mancini, Pellegrini, and the board behind the scenes did in the 7 or 8 years in the build up to him coming in. That build of that foundation was key to future success. If Pep came in 2009, by now he'd be winning. But he wouldn't have won in his first 7 years at the club what he's won now, in my personal opinion. I don't believe that's plausible. So I want to have this conversation with Gooners. I want to get your views. I want to get your opinions as ever when it comes to this. Is it right to be Arteta out right now? Is it right to question Arteta at this point only? Or should he just be left alone and ignored and given more time without any real accountability? Where do you sit on that debate? I want to know right now, because the opinions are everywhere. Until next time, my beautiful, beautiful community, take care, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very